Well, actually, no. If we do it yeah. And then I'll do it.
Multiple sync points, baby.
All right, hopefully that's good. All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Oh, do you want me to hit a sound or something?
All right. Yeah, hit us the sound to hit us off.
Oh, I forgot which one's which. This is going to be totally random, but I'm going to
Please
start
be,
us
bro.
off with... Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Fuck it. This one.
How long does this go for?
We've got a minute left. I'm turning it
Get
off.
rid of that shit.
And
All right.
we're on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the pre-production meeting. I am one of your co-hosts, Josh Urquhart, and I am here with my other co-host,
Austin Scott, baby.
Austin. How are you, mate? It's been a while since we've been in this room. We have done a podcast together. But how you feeling to be back in the seat, the podcasting seat?
I am honestly thrilled. Like when we came back in here and all the new lights and shit that are in here as well.
Yeah.
And a topic we're going to touch on in a bit. But yeah, when we were back in here, 2 years ago?
2 years ago
with the other potty.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. But yeah, man, ever since you and I organised this, I've been fucking excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm stoked to be back.
Stoked, that's good, mate. Yeah, it was unfortunate what happened last time with COVID, and I think that kind of is what was the main instigator for the ending the other pod. If you guys, some of you may have listened to the other pod. It was called "What Are Your Thoughts?" Very good pod. We actually got a few listeners. You know, we got some fans, and then COVID hit, and we ended up. You know, we tried to do Discord for a couple weeks, and it just didn't work out. But we are back, and we are back and better, I would say, because we have a very good we have a very good concept, I feel like, and it's very strong. Now, before we actually get into that, I think we should actually explain what this podcast is and what it's going to be about each week, basically. 100%. So, Austin, I want to ask you a question. When you were younger, or maybe now, have you ever played Pokemon?
Yeah.
You have?
Yep.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I was playing Pokemon back in the day, there were levels I just couldn't get past, right? Even maybe finding the Master Ball, right? So what did I do? I went on YouTube and I searched up Pokemon Diamond walkthrough, right? And that ran me through how to get the Master Ball, basically. Okay. But they also continued the series for the whole time and showed us basically from start to finish how they ran through the whole Pokemon game.
Right.
Did you ever do that?
For other games, not Pokemon, but...
Fair enough. Well, basically, guys, that is what this podcast is going to be about. This is one big walkthrough, all right? Me and Austin went to film school together, so we've been in this industry, I'd say, for a little while now. Yeah. So we somewhat know what we're doing, but we need each other, which we'll get into, to kind of make that next step. So this podcast is going to be a walkthrough on how we make our next films. Now, we've both had experience, either directing our own films, editing our own films, or being on our own films throughout uni. So we have got a bit of experience, but we thought, which we'll get into again later on, the reasonings why, but it would be a good idea to run week by week how we're going through this process from start to finish. And I reckon it hits both kind of audiences that are interested in film and want to get an understanding, you know, some tips and tricks on the way about how we do our process. Yep. But I also think it's really good for the people that aren't in the film industry to see how it's done. Yeah. Because that's a big thing for everybody. Like I've spoken to people, even recently, who I've just met, and they ask how the whole process works. Yeah. So I think it's a good idea. And week by week, you guys will go through the trials and tribulations with us, the ups and downs of how hard it actually is to make a film, and hopefully by the end of it we will both have completed films going through the film festival circuit, and you'll be able to watch it, and I think it will be a good payoff because you would have been with us from the start, seeing everything we've been through from conception to execution, basically.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's basically how it's going to go. It's called the pre-production meeting because, you know, every production starts in pre-production. We both have ideas right now. I'm just trying to get used to what camera to look at. I'm looking at this one, but that one's on you. We both have ideas. We're both at different stages of the process, basically, and we're gonna help each other. And so I think this is a good segue into why we're actually doing this in the first place.
Yeah, 100%.
now I'll hit it off and then I'll pass it to you. I kind of see this podcast first and foremost for me and you, and then whoever listens, right? It's like going to the gym, and this is what I was explaining to you on the call last week, is I feel more inclined to work out when I actually go to the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, say, I'm going for a run elsewhere or going to work out at my home, I'm not that motivated. I have to go to the gym to work out. So this is one of the big reasons me and you started this, is because we both kind of agreed to that fact that if we had an excuse to go somewhere once a week, we would actually be inclined to do work each week and get progress, which will segue to you, which leads us to why we created this in the first place.
Yeah, well, I think what this stemmed from was, and a topic we'll touch on in a bit is just life post film school was kind of like, you're filled with sweet, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just constantly just keep churning out films, all that kind of stuff. Like you left and you were like, yes, this is what's going to happen, all that kind of stuff. Life gets in the way. COVID got in the way. Things get in the way, and they stop you from doing it. And it really then you fall into a routine of just, I don't know, doing nothing essentially, or just, continuously just sort of saying, I'll get to it later, all that kind of stuff. And then it got to a point where I was like, I need to reach out to somebody to sort of like, I don't know, let's do something. Let's see what happens. And then Josh and I jumped on a call just one day, and we started talking, and then sort of ignited a sort of creative spark in us both. And then from then we've just been back and forth, blowing up each other's phones. And then Josh pitched this idea to me for the podcast, and I'd just been thinking that I think the massive thing is accountability when it comes to this stuff. Because not too long ago, I was actually I wanted to get into working out. This is to touch on what you said about the gym. And I go to the gym and I have no idea what I'm doing. But my younger brother did. And so then I'd signed up to the same gym with him, and he was my accountability partner. So I went to the gym every time. And it was I don't feel like going to the gym. And then he gets on the phone and goes, are you coming to the gym? And then you don't want to let him down. So then you go to the gym. Then you said, because you're there, you're doing it, and you feel like you have to. Whereas now I see this opportunity as this very room, we're not going to come in here without progress.
Exactly.
If you know what I mean? Imagine how bad it's going to look oh yeah, Josh has done all this work, and I'm I'm still where I was last week.
Exactly.
So that's something that we want to crush, and I feel like this is probably the best way to do that, because it is so easy, like I just said, to be I'll do it later kind of thing. And I'll touch on that when we talk about it, because ever since we had our first phone call, I was motivated to get into it and all that kind of stuff. And then I did some stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get back to this later. Yeah. And the laptop's still in the same spot when I shut my laptop 2 weeks ago kind of thing. So
exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's what this is.
Yeah.
This is what this podcast is. We're not going to come here without progress.
Mate, exactly. And I'll touch on a couple of things you just mentioned as well. Life post film school isn't so gloriful, I guess. We had, a couple films, or you were working on a couple films, and I directed mine as well. And can we just preface, we did kind of clickbait everybody saying this is an award-winning, hosted by award-winning people. Technically we are. I've directed my film, has won a couple awards. Well,
a couple. Gas yourself up. Come on.
A bit more than a couple awards overseas and stuff like that. And you've worked and edited award-winning films as well. So basically we are. We got to get something to get the viewers in, right?
Yeah.
But oh God, lost my track of thought. They're gassing myself.
Nah, bro, that's totally welcome here.
No, yeah. So life post film school. I had my film, and once that was done, I had another idea, and you're so full with all these ideas to start off with, and then, like you said, life gets in the way, and COVID was a big one for me, because I like to be in the same room as people, feed off their energy.
100%.
And me and Jay, shout out Jay, who still hasn't responded to my messages this week. Get him now. Yeah, but he, me and him were working on something, and then COVID got in the way, and I couldn't. I'm not doing this over Zoom, man. I'm just
Absolutely.
I need to be in the same room as people, and that kind of got me into this bad habit of just not doing anything at all. And now, God, I lost my train of thought again.
Podcasting.
Oh God. You lose lots of motivation, but with film, it's not all sunshine and rainbows by all means, the industry in itself. And I've been through this motivation slump before. So it started with, using the excuse of COVID and saying, I can't do this because of COVID. And then it turns into, I don't have the motivation anymore. And I think that's super scary actually to be a part of. But like I was saying, I've been through this, we've been through this motivation stuff before during uni whilst we were working on our projects. Massively. I remember the guy that I came to was you, and we reignited that fire, kind of just going back and forth, the things that you weren't able to do during COVID. But I remember specifically when I got that fire back, it was on the bus home from uni, and we came up with this really good idea for a feature film down the track, and that kind of reignited that fire to continue on with my own film and 100%. Get through the rest of uni and stuff like that. So when it comes to, trying to get that fire back, when you hit me, I was in this stage where I didn't know what to do. Same. I had lost most of the people that I had really good, connections within the industry. Life happens. And, I had people that were really close that I would be sharing these ideas with and stuff like that. Not saying you weren't one of them.
No, I get you.
But those people that would help would be that first stage of creating the process of film. Life happens and they 100%. Go out of your life. So then that added to the kind of excuses almost. But when you hit me up, I'm like, why didn't I just come to you first? You're the man who took me out of this dump in the first place.
To touch on that as well, bro, I feel like you and I were in the same spot.
Yes.
Because I remember I tried to motivate myself to do it, and then I kind of started using excuses as well. We're kind of just mirroring each other here. I would just get into this slump where I was just like, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, have a couple of days off, and you didn't do anything in those days off kind of thing. That was my major thing, is I wanted to do stuff with my days off.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what it was and I don't know how it happened, but it was more so I was sitting having a coffee and I just went, the only thing that's going to change is the only way things are going to change is if you make them.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, I went to I look back at film school and I think they were some of the best days of my life because we were running amok in that place.
Awesome.
It came up with some of the most, you met some really cool people. You made some really good connections, and just the one thing I loved about that was just you were in that creative space for 4 days of the week. Yeah. With like-minded people.
Yeah, that's the big thing, man.
And I still remember when people were pitching their ideas. I just wanted to hear their ideas, to hear what they were saying and everything like that, and what drives them kind of thing. And so I was sitting having a coffee, and I was like, I don't want to lose touch with the people that I, had some of the best days of my life with.
But you do. That's the thing,
That's the thing, because life gets in the way. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit up a couple of people and then see what can happen, because I've got ideas, but they're just ideas that just sit there. Ideas are something, but the execution's something else. Hence this podcast. But and then I was like, I need to hit up Josh, because him and I had some of the most passionate film chats
100%.
Ever on the train and bus home, to a point where I got told to shut up on a quiet train. But it's stuff like that I wanted to reignite, and then this has just been astronomical.
It's been a blessing in disguise, and literally since we came up with this idea, I've noticed the motivation level, bro. We'll get into it in the next couple of pods, but I picked up the book that I'm adapting last night and reread the chapters of where I'm up to in my progress. But I think you made a really good point in terms of doing nothing with your day, because I kind of fell into this loop where it got really bad, and I started to feel guilty, really, really guilty. And that just made me sad, angry. I'm like, I should be doing something 100%. With these days. And, because film, for me, is what I've wanted to do since the longest time. And it's funny because it's not as common of an industry to get into, definitely. Which I like.
Yep.
But that also means you're the only one doing it. And usually the people around you, you're known as the film guy. So you also have that outside expectation that you're kind of going to do something in the industry. So when you got people asking you 24/7, what's your next film? Especially riding the coattails of To the Lesson and that success in quotation marks, I would say, people asking, what is the next film? What is the next film? You always in this industry, you got to have a next move, man.
Yeah,
You got to have a next
absolutely.
move. But when you got those people breathing down your neck 24/7, not saying they do it in a bad way, but it puts so much pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And I think more than pulling me back into the industry and the mindset, it pushed me away.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's not been the best. But since I think we've came up with this idea and, getting back on track, I've felt astronomically different.
Yeah.
What I do want to touch on a point is film school in general, right? So it's been 2 years now?
Yeah.
3? No, not 2. We graduated 20 or 19?
21.
21?
21, yeah, it was last year.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
We did not graduate last year, did we?
Yeah, it started in 19, graduated 21. 2-year course, mate.
Yeah, right. Anyways, yeah. So I want to touch on that, right? And I think this is why this is good for the pod as well, for the listeners, is I'm going to just say it straight out. It ain't worth it.
Yeah, look, there was a lot of stuff that I've learnt, like, post-film school.
Dude.
Like,
literally.
YouTube is a film school if you want it to be.
Like, don't get me wrong. We had some of the best days in film school.
And in saying that, there was some, like, merit to it.
Yeah.
All in all,
it 100% is not worth it, mate. I've been on sets and I've learned more in a day than I will ever learn at film school. Not saying the film school that we didn't go to is not good. They had some great lecturers, some not so great lecturers. If we're on the same mindset of that one lesson, that still pops up in my head.
So some quality admin work there too.
Yep. Look, I think the best thing to come out of that is the connections, and that's why when you lose those, when life gets in the bloody, nobody could have predicted COVID, right?
No.
But when life gets in the way and you lose those connections, you're gonna feel hopeless, because when you come out of film school, that's the main thing that you're there for, is to be around like-minded people and to build those connections. Don't get me wrong, I've picked little pieces of advice pieces when it comes to different stages of the filmmaking process that will always hold with me from the lecturers, but overall it's not worth it, man. I've come up with my screenwriting structure, like I told you, from the Marvel writers on YouTube. They literally tell you how to structure a film. I use that for my film. I honestly, and we'll run through that, so you guys, I'll give you the cheat codes, like what we use basically to make ours. And I that's more than oh God, I gotta be careful saying this. I feel like if screenwriting class started with that in the first lesson, then I don't think you would need other screenwriting classes.
To further touch on that, I feel like I enjoyed screenwriting so much.
So did I, 100%.
Only, like, the first one was like the first unit of screenwriting was the grouse. It was awesome. Like I loved that. And then so when screenwriting 2 came around, I was like, sign me up to that. But screenwriting 2 was the biggest waste of time. I'm gonna say it straight out. Like there was literally, like, I was like, okay, how do you do this and kind of stuff? Let me show you an example. I don't want to see an example like of it being put on screen. I want to see it on the page. Like, how was that written and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like that's something we needed to be taught. And
like literally, like, a lot of things we did miss out on because of COVID, like practically getting our hands on stuff and doing stuff. Screenwriting is not an excuse, but for example, like, I don't know, cinematography or something like that. Like, we couldn't do stuff because we couldn't be in the room to do it.
Exactly.
But we did miss out on a lot. But like, since film school is done, unless you're on sets, you're on sets and you keep the same connections, you're gonna lose that motivation to do it.
Absolutely.
And like I said, if you don't have those connections, you're not going to be on set.
Exactly.
It is what it is. Luckily, and that's the thing, like, I had those connections. I was on sets for a little bit. And then those connections, life gets in the way and stuff happens. And then now you're not on sets.
Exactly.
And that's the best way to learn, bro. People spend one day on a set and they can learn more about film school than film school.
Well, I feel like as well at film school, it was more so like, this is the way you should do it, otherwise it's incorrect. And then you go on sets and all that kind of stuff and you see it done a different way. And you go, okay, there's no right or wrong way to do stuff, just as long as the end result is what was intended, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And I like to think of this example as the I'm going to just come up with the name right now. You're witnessing it here. The boom mic theory. The way we were taught to hold a boom mic in the industry, which don't get me wrong, is a way to hold the boom mic and all that kind of stuff. But
God, that's a fucking workout, man.
I'll get into that. But when I was on, and like, I don't mean to gas myself up here, we're not best mates by any means, but when I was on Dacre Montgomery's film, right, the boom mic operator, right, they did an extreme close up on.
Hold on, is that Dacre Montgomery from Stranger Things?
Yes, from
Billy.
Stranger Things. Yes, Billy.
Okay,
Billy.
cool.
Yes. Forgot his last name.
Do you reckon you can get him on the pod?
I'll call him after and see if he'll come on.
That would be crazy.
Because he can tell us about his
dude.
Like, dude, I was there for some of his pre-production.
Yeah,
so
I think it would be amazing. Sorry to cut you off.
We'll
get
please.
back. But like to get people in and talk about, because I think it's kind of a taboo topic when you're in the film industry to talk about if you're unmotivated.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you won't be hired. You won't do this. You won't do that. You'll get shunned upon almost. So to bring people in, bring them out of their comfort zones, and ask them, little tips and tricks on how to get out of that, Dom.
Absolutely.
Mate, it would be amazing.
I think so, yes. But so the boom mic theory was like, you get told in film school, this is the only way you hold a boom mic. Like, depending on the shot, obviously that's going to vary, whatever project you're on, all that kind of stuff. I get it. Full disclaimer, I understand. But we were told, like, this is the way you hold it. There's no other way. You won't get it, blah, blah, blah. Bro, I was on Dacre's film, and when they did the extreme close-up of his face, legit, the boom mic operator, I'll try and demonstrate this so people can... bro, he held it like he was cradling a baby.
Yeah.
Right? So the pole came out here, and the mic was pointing, like, there. Like, Dacre's face was right here.
Was that from hour one, or was that after a while he's been holding it, and he's just gotten tired?
Bro, first or second shot of the day.
You're kidding me.
Right, he's right
wow.
there. Bro, he's just holding it. Like, bro, as long as he's out of frame, the mic's out of frame, do not worry about it. And Dacre was the director. He's not going to be like, bro, in film school, I was taught this is the way. He just kind of did that, and bro, it got the result. So, multiple ways to get things done. And the thing I love about this industry, and from the couple of sets I've been on, no one day is the same.
No
one day is the same. And there was another shoot I was on, and we were shooting a trampoline scene, right? And so, like, I was just a PA, so I'm sitting back watching back, running, getting coffees and stuff, but just absorbing and networking is the main thing that's the best thing. But we were in a backyard. There was like, lucky we had both these houses. Like, one was like the unit base for catering and all that kind of stuff, but the other one was where we were actually shooting. But then the backyard for the one where the unit was looked better than the backyard that was next door. But we needed the trampoline from that side, so a bunch of us got the trampoline, lifted over the fence, put it over that side just to shoot in that backyard. And me and the other PA, like, we were saying, like, this is why we love it, because it's just like, how can we get this done? Come up with a way to get it done, kind of thing, rather than going like, nah, the book says you need to do this kind of thing. So, and it's
the people you meet on set, man. Like, there's not one same. You get some characters, I'll tell you that, on film sets. But in terms of that, you get different ways to do stuff, like you said. We're basically, what we're doing right now is hyping up. Just get on a set. Don't worry about film school, man. If you want some, like, how to write a script, search it up on bloody YouTube. Seriously, you'll find it. It's fine. Like, some of the best people, some of the best filmmakers in the world didn't go to film school. Like, what was it? Oh God, I don't want to say this wrong. I think Taika Waititi. I was watching a film about him. I don't think. Maybe he went to film school originally, but he made a film. No, he made a film before film school.
Okay,
And then he entered that into festivals, and so I'm pretty sure it still did really well. It's just little success stories that just get on a set. Number 1. That's why I like being AD on a lot of films. It's not a job that a lot of people do because there's a lot of work to do. But I choose AD for the very fact that you're working close with the director. AD meaning 100%. Assistant director. And you're learning their tips and tricks, how they do certain things. And I've worked with lots of directors now, and I can tell you I've picked up a piece from every single person, every single director, a tip and trick that I will either use or make into my own. And I think it's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
100%.
100%, I agree.
But yeah, in saying that, I think we've covered like the loss of motivation, which was a big one.
I think, yeah.
It's like, when you're not surrounded by those people, and COVID was a big deal, you lose that motivation, which leads to guilt, all these different stuff. The loss of connections is a big one.
Yeah.
So we're hoping as well with this podcast is, you know, hopefully we get a few viewers. It doesn't really matter, but with those viewers, you know, people might, you know, when it comes time to building our cast and stuff like that and crew, we'll be able to get people in for interviews as we hire them, which I think will be really cool. Pick their brains about the industry and stuff like that, because I can tell you right now, me and you, we're correct me if I'm wrong, we're back to stage one, my man.
Oh, facts. Yeah,
like, we're back to stage one, and I think that's a really interesting and a really interesting part of this concept. We're back to stage one, so we're with everybody right now watching 100%. This podcast. The only difference is that's a big word. We've been through 2 years of film school, so we've picked up little tips and tricks here and there, and but we're at the same stage as everybody, and I feel like everybody that we get into this, these crew and cast will also be on that, and hopefully we'll inspire some people, and
absolutely,
if they want to get into the industry.
I was thinking to myself last night. Well, actually, when I was with my brother and my mum yesterday, my brother turned on The Office. He's in season 2 of The Office. Like, he's never watched it before. So,
really?
Yeah. So
God, I'd kill to watch that show for the first time again.
And so when I was sitting on the table with mum, and then mum said, like, it's amazing the stuff Michael Scott gets away with. And I'm like, if he can run a branch, anybody in life can do anything. And I get he's a fictional character, but I was like, if he can run a branch, anybody in life can do anything.
Literally.
So, like you said, we're at stage one.
Yeah.
We're only human. Everybody's human. Everybody goes through the ups and downs, and everybody has their own story. And like, we're just two dudes that we want to do some
some film, man.
Yeah. So
before we close this off, I reckon we should talk about what exactly we've done.
Yes.
You know,
okay. Yeah. Done.
What exactly we want to do. Not in terms of the projects. We'll get onto those in different episodes. But, you know, why we got into this industry, what we want to do, what we have done. And then I think that's good for the first pod. So start us off, my man.
No, so why I am in this, and it's something that it came from like a, you know, maybe a bit vulnerable here, but like it was quite a week down. Wow, why can't I
downhill
talk?
slope?
Yeah, like it was quite a low point in my life where. You know, it was just a day-to-day slum, work, go home, repeat the next day kind of thing. Yep. And, you know, one weekend it just kind of hit me like, what if I'm not going to do it? Like, is this my life? Is this my life kind of thing? And then, you know, broke down into tears, all that kind of stuff. My girlfriend helped me through it. Yep. I was just like, I want to do something with my life kind of thing. And, we went and saw The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman, you know, once the credits rolled on that film, like, and I love that film, and I know you do too. Yeah. The Greatest Showman. And then you see all the credits start rolling, and I was just thinking, like, you know, these are people that do this for a living. Like, this is their job kind of thing. What's stopping me from doing that? So then I just, you know, went, I'm going to take a leap, and I'm going to, you know, start looking for film schools and all that kind of stuff, just to really, like, this is what I want to do. I know this is what, because I'm a massive movie buff. Yeah. That was like the go-to date with me and my girlfriend, was just to the movies every weekend. But
it's my go-to date with myself each week as well now, brother.
Me too. But yeah, so, and I was like, yeah, this is a job. This is what people do with their lives. I want to do that as well. Like, what's stopping me from doing it?
Of course.
Myself. And so then I took a chance on myself. My boss at the time was accommodating. When that got a bit much, juggling the carpentry apprenticeship and film school, like, I was like, all right, because film's what I want to chase. Carpentry's got to go. Then I was working part-time, all that kind of jazz. And then, you know, circle back all the way to the film school chat, met some great people like yourself, Fetty, Jay, Lockie, Hattie, Emmanuel. Sorry if I left out your name, but there's a lot of people that I'll keep in touch with for years to come and work on projects together. But yeah, this is just like, that's the main thing for me. And further touching on what we've said, like, no one day is the same. I feel like you're out of the rat race of sorts kind of thing, but that's essentially why I want to do film, is just, I love the dedication and hard work that goes into it. The behind the scenes to what it actually looks like on screen is something that I am majorly impressed with. And
do you still, after you go see films, I don't know about, like, do you go straight onto YouTube, watch the behind the scenes on how they made it?
No, but I do follow, like yourself, I follow a couple film pages.
Oh, 100%,
but I was actually going to come on here and say, have you, and this is going to sound psychotic, but have you ever seen an explosion in your life?
That's psychotic, man.
Have you ever seen an explosion in your life? Like not fireworks. Don't
Yeah,
count.
no. I have. But it was when I was about, I'd say 12.
12?
At Movie World, watching the little VFX
Okay, yes, I
expo
get you.
thing.
Okay, so that counts as well.
SFX,
So
same thing,
the reason why I brought that up is because there was a behind the scenes shot of Michael Bay's Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Yes.
And
Greatest film of all time.
Michael, why am I forgetting his name? Michael Bay. What?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas directed Transformers. Let's go.
Michael Bay, aka Bayhem, for all of his films.
What the fuck? I've never heard of that.
Have you actually never heard
No.
that? Right, that's all over the internet. I promise you. Look it up. Bayhem.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And like they did a behind the scenes shot of Transformers, and the size of the explosion that was practically done on set, I was just like, well, if that happened in my workplace, that's a workplace safety. Like, that's something's very wrong. But for this to be like, something that you see at work,
crazy,
like
man.
that's something that
Amazing.
this industry can provide you with.
That ain't work, cuz.
Exactly right. It's not work. Exactly. That's ultimately, it's not. I don't want to get into this industry just so I can witness an explosion, but I just want to I think that's the coolest thing ever. Like Tenet when he crashed a plane. Like, come on, like
that was all practical.
exactly
as well,
right.
man.
That's it. And
crazy.
I remember John David Washington saying like, I wasn't supposed to be on set that day, but I was like, I want to watch how they do this. And so he
Right.
said, like, bro, it's just those kind of things that it's all that kind of stuff that makes me want to do this.
Of course. And how about what have you done?
Okay, what I have done. Going into film school, nothing. When we started, we did that digital postcard, which is essentially the music video without script. Without dialogue. Then actually I did a documentary on Dylan Brown, the Parramatta Eels 5'8".
We can even get him in here.
We could. I think he's a big fan of this place as well, to be honest. So I did a documentary on him, and the challenges that came with that were quite challenging.
Yeah,
but
it did.
It was highly rewarding, but
I DP'd that. I was
DP'd what?
cinematographer for that, bro.
Sorry, I thought you meant DP'd like Facebook profile picture. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I displayed profile picture that documentary.
Yeah, no, yes, you were, and I remember giving you the control to
Did
B-roll shots and
cinematography
stuff.
once, never touched it again.
But that was that. So,
Even trying to turn these cameras on this morning were a bloody effort, mate.
I had to look up that book, like how to work cameras for dummies, kind of
Literally.
thing for both of us. But so the reward that came out of that was really, really great. And then what else did we do? The short films were fun.
Remnant.
Yeah, Remnant. That was good. That was like the challenges with that was, oh Jesus Christ. We'll get the boys in to talk about that one day. But what else? Broken Record. Editor for Broken Record, Federico Anderson's film, the award-winning film.
Yep. 100%.
No, that was the art to have something that was rewarded like that is I still kind of can't believe it, but it's something I'm very proud of. And the challenges that came with that as well. Like every part of the process comes with a challenge. The pre-production, the production, the post-production, and then the distribution itself it's just challenge after challenge, and it's so rewarding.
And expensive.
Yes, exactly right. And that's pretty much all I've done.
Would you say you're a director, editor? What?
Ooh.
Or still trying to figure it out?
Still trying to figure it out, essentially. But I like to think that one day I will direct.
Which you will.
Yeah,
with this film coming up.
Exactly right. But I think mainly learning all the cogs in the machine. I still need to find where I fit in and where I want to really excel in an area. Kind of
course,
thing.
man.
So,
well, hopefully we'll see some character development over this podcast.
Exactly right.
And we have a more clear view of what you want to be by the end of it, man. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. So please, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, sure. I'll keep this short and sweet, hopefully, because it looks like there's some people that want to come in. So, God, this tracks back a long time. So my grandfather was a filmmaker. I'm sure you've heard this story many times. My grandfather was a filmmaker, and it was in my blood, I would say, for a long time. It didn't actually click with me. It's a sad story for a sec, but it didn't actually click with me until he passed away. And at his wake, they played a bunch of his short films.
Yep.
And I would like to say that was the unintentional catalyst that started my journey. I would say the first film that, kind of continued that path. So I had that, and then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 1 out of all the films, and that was the first film to actually properly make me feel something feel like an emotion.
Yeah,
A
right.
weird movie. They were doing that dance battle. I'm like, if they somehow get out of this and use it, crazy film, right? But yeah, no, I was like, this is incredible, and the feeling that made in me, I'm like, I want to replicate that. I want to replicate that with everybody. I want to take that feeling that I'm feeling, and I want everybody to feel it, basically.
Yeah, exactly right.
I've also been doing magic my whole life, and it's a similar kind of payoff in magic as it is film, where everything that you do leads to the reaction, the payoff. Seeing the look on people's faces when you do the impossible in front of their eyes is what you want. And that's the same with film. You can do film and cause these different reactions and emotions. So I wanted to replicate that. And ever since then, I've been making little short films throughout high school, putting it on YouTube. And, used to have a YouTube channel back in the day. And yeah, since then, went to film school and created little bits and bobs like yourself. And then graduated with our graduate film, which was a film about magic, and I liked that little intertwined journey that came to a conclusion. And yeah, that's basically the whole story and what I've been doing. And we've got some things down in the pipeline, but everything leads to me to creating that reaction and that feeling in people.
100%.
And yeah, I feel like I was able to do that to the lesson, and we held a premiere for it. That was awesome. And
It was awesome.
seeing that, people applauding and actually people coming up to me crying afterwards and not saying is that good, but just it was quite the experience. And if I can get that feeling that I had when that those things happen, then I'll be happy. And
Exactly right.
you'll never work a day in your life, but that's basically what I've done. And I'm a director, writer, but a director first and foremost. And yeah, I'm here to not only, I would say, carry on my grandfather's legacy, I guess, but make my own. And now we're here, man.
Exactly right.
Now we're here.
Now we're here. That's
stage one again, but I feel like we've got a good thing going on. And
I have a good feeling about this.
I have a good feeling about this, and we have some good ideas, man.
We do.
We both, so basically to rehash before we end this, we both have an idea for a movie. We're both going to play a part in each other's creation of this movie somehow.
Yep.
I'll produce your film. We get to find your role and mine.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll get there 100%. Yep. And we're going to leave this here because I feel like we've got through a lot for the intro, and the next couple eps will be about our projects individually.
Exactly right. And I just want to say as well, it was like a little topic that you and I touched on just before the camera started rolling and the audio started recording. Further down the track, if anybody has ideas and stuff they want to discuss with us as well, we'll help you out. Like, this is what this podcast is. Essentially just to circle it all back to the start. We want to help people and show what it takes. I'm not saying that we are the be all and end all, but we want to help out where we can.
Exactly.
So that's
help
what this
each
body
other.
Is. And help other people.
Help other people, man. That's
Exactly
the
right.
bottom line. And let's make a good film. And now I feel like we got each other. We can hold ourselves accountable whilst also the others, the listeners and viewers and stuff, hopefully holding us accountable as well to
Absolutely.
get some progress week by week. And I won't say it probably won't be exciting every week because in reality, this is going to be real, man. Like, the pre-production stuff isn't always fancy and snazzy, but it's needed and it's important. And it's stuff that people don't know.
Exactly.
From beat sheets, man. Nobody knows what a beat sheet is.
Exactly
From
right.
beat sheets to location releases. Like, it's all interesting stuff. It may seem boring, but I feel like we'll make it exciting in a way where you get the whole gist of how to make a film.
Exactly right. So I think on that note, we've been going for just about to go 41 minutes here. So I think we might wrap it up there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys stick around. If not, that's fine. But,
we're here for the long haul. Think of this like a limited series.
Yes.
All
exactly
right? Because it's going to be, we're making a film over this process and you're going to see the end. And we've actually already been talking about ideas about season 2, which is exciting.
Exactly right.
But yeah.
I think on that note, we'll...
Before we go,
yeah.
we have Instagram. We have TikTok.
Yes,
we have YouTube.
please.
All right, at the prod. The pre-prod pod.
Podcast.
The pre-prod pod on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. It's just the pre-production meeting.
There you go. So that's where you can find us. That's where you can reach us.
Amazing.
Please.
I feel good.
Yep. And on that note, we out of here.
See ya.